Hey everybody, today I thought I'd give you a little behind the scenes peek at our online pre-order program. Now this is a very special program that we offer for people in our community so that they can order plants ahead of time and we take care of them until May 19th. Now it's unusual for a nursery to do that, but people living in our area have some special challenges when it comes to annual plants, and that's because our last frost date, for people around here, if you live close to the lake, your last average frost date is usually after May 20th. The further inland you go, the later it gets. So for some people, it's right at the beginning of June. So there's always that frost danger. It means that people have to put off buying their plants, or they have to find a way to take care of them at home. And that can be a little stressful. We're blessed with these greenhouses to be able to take care of them. We have limited space, but we do offer up some of that space for people who pre-order. And this is a service, again, for really people who only live like within an hour of us. We don't offer it for people beyond that. It is specifically for, our immediate customers, our most loyal customers. So when it comes to our systems that we have, only have our online store open for about 2 weeks out of the year, so we haven't invested in any kind of elaborate system. We don't have fancy label printers or any kind of special inventory system. We just use our Square system that we use for our register. We use the online version for that, and basically we sell through that. And every day as the orders come in the morning we print off the orders, then we print what we call a pull sheet, and that is a list of all the plants that sold the day before, and those are the plants that we have to pull for the orders. Unfortunately, Square doesn't have a real great kind of reporting system, so you have to only do the last 24 hours. You can't narrow it down, which can be a little annoying because at the busiest times we like to do pull orders in the morning and pull orders in the afternoon. So we've worked out systems to work around that. Once those orders are pulled, we go through and pull all the plants. Once the plants are pulled, we put them on our racks, and the racks kind of store those for a second. Then we take the orders, and one by one we actually organize each order individually on our benches. And that, if we were a bigger place, you'd probably just keep all your petunias together and all your impatiens together and stuff like that. But we don't have enough space to do that, and we can't risk not having the plants for people. So we put everybody's order together. We do split them up. So hanging baskets, of course, go hanging in the air. Sun plants stay in the sun. Shade plants stay in under the shade cloth towards the back. So there is a lot of running around with that. And so one order can be in 3 or 4 places, but we've managed to make it work. Then once we get those orders placed, then we go through and do a recount. So every day we go back and we recount each order. Then we send the confirmation once we've done the recount. And sometimes, like at the beginning when it's really busy, it might take a day or two before we get that confirmation email sent out. But if you get a confirmation email, it's been counted at least twice. And sometimes we actually go through and do additional counts just because we just don't want to be short on any plants. As we get farther along and plants start selling out, we do try to have backups, because every once in a while plant doesn't make it, or maybe one plant just is growing a little funny, so we're going to swap it out with something else. And then as we get towards our pickup date, we start releasing those just to our public customers that are here. So that's why, we may be sold out of something the second week in May, but you come in the 4th week in May, suddenly we have some more. It's because we were able to release those, but we don't want to release them until everybody gets their pickup, because people who have ordered online, we want to make sure they get exactly what they asked for. After 2 weeks of sales, we pretty much have filled up our biggest greenhouse. And as you look at how we've organized things, you might be thinking, well, they've put a lot of space. They're really wasting a lot of room. And the truth is, we've had to consider how big these plants are going to get. These coleus are going to get quite large, at least grow a foot wide and a foot tall. Sometimes they get even 2 or 3 feet if we're not careful. You can already see like these dahlias are getting pretty big, and we're going to have to do some trimming on these. We trim usually the bottom branches just because it makes it easier to water. If we leave these branches on there, they start shedding the water and it gets harder and harder to water. There's a lot of plants in here that are going to need continuous trimming right up until people come. So we try to kind of ease up on the trimming right before the deadline, but you can see like there's a pile of bubblegum vistas right over there. Those are going to need a trim, otherwise they're going to get a little out of control on us. So those are all sold. Everything over here is sold. And then we have this area here, and everything in here has also sold. Now that the plants have been pulled and every order has been counted and recounted, I've gone through every single order and I've spotted a few plants that I think we can do better with. So I'm swapping them out with the same varieties, only kind of plants that I think are a little stronger, because a lot of these plants were pulled 2 weeks ago. They were still a lot smaller than they are now, and some of them have just taken off and are looking better. Most of the ones that I'm going to be swapping out, they're still going to look great in 2 or 3 weeks, but I just want to make sure for the online orders that people are getting kind of the best ones that we have right now. I don't want to have to be waiting till later to try to swap them out when we might be running out. And that's one of the advantages to people who pick up earlier, is that we have more opportunity to be able to swap things out, or we might have other alternatives in case a plant doesn't do well, because it does happen. Sometimes a plant just either fails or we maybe miswater it. Happens very rarely, but every once in a while there's that one plant that just doesn't make it. And we always make sure and honor people either with a credit or replacement or something like that. But this kind of assures that we're not going to have raggedy plants when it comes time for pickup. So that job is done, but I have to admit it is a lot warmer in here than I thought it was when I started. I didn't even turn off the fan, so apologies for the background noise. You might have noticed some of the coleus, or most of the coleus I was replacing, there was quite a difference between the ones that I was bringing in versus the ones I was taking out. And that's simply because we had been testing different ways of growing the coleus. So we had them in different light conditions and different temperature greenhouses, and our experiment definitely proved that we have better ways for us to grow coleus, and in the future we're going to be focusing on those better techniques, and then we won't have small ones and big ones. Fortunately, I expect that all those coleus that were little tiny ones now, in about 2 or 3 weeks, they're going to probably catch up with the other ones, and you're not going to notice a big difference. So fingers crossed, that's how that works. But we wanted to make sure for these pre-orders that we had the best ones in here, because I don't want to be scrambling around when people are here for pickup trying to find replacements or trying to substitute or anything like that. It's just not worth it. Much rather get it right away, right now, so that way it's not a problem in the future. So hey, I hope you enjoyed this little peek at our online sales. It is something we do for our community, and we're really happy to be able to offer the service. Remember, we do not offer this to people all over the place. We do not ship. We do not do any of that kind of stuff. So my apologies if you wish you could get some of our plants. It doesn't work that way. We're not a big enough operation, but there are places you can go to that do, like Garden Crossing is a company in downstate Michigan that does a really nice job of shipping out stuff, especially Proven Winners products. So I'd recommend you check out them. There are others. Just remember, if you're going to be ordering online, especially plants, make sure it's a company that has some experience, because you don't want to be the guinea pig on how they do their packaging or their shipping or any of that kind of stuff, because plants are pretty fragile, they are perishable, and you don't want to be the test case on any of that kind of stuff. So order from a reputable company if you're going to order plants online.